For March 18th, we're going to be finding the surface area of prisms and cylinders. So your first page of your notes, we're looking at our formula chart, and on our formula chart, we are concerned with the section going over surface area. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in very quickly. Okay, so going down to that section going over surface area, again, we're finding the surface area for both prisms and cylinders. Now, you'll be asked to find the lateral surface area and the total surface area. Now, if they ask you to find the lateral surface area, they're asking you to find all the area of the sides of the triangle or of your shape. Now, if they ask you for your total surface area, that's going to be the sides plus the top and the bottom. So let's go ahead and look at page 2. So on page 2, I have a cylinder, a rectangular prism, and a triangular prism. Now the formula for surface area for a cylinder is S equals 2 pi times RH plus 2 pi r squared. Now this is the formula for total surface area. But looking at your cylinder here, or looking at our formula, the only letters that we really need to look for are our radius and our height. So looking here on our cylinder, our radius only goes halfway on our base shape. And again, our height is the distance between both of our base shapes. So that's all we're concerned with on finding on a cylinder. Now, when we're talking about a prism, the formula for surface area of a prism, and of course these are total surface area, is going to be pH plus 2b. Now, this P stands for perimeter. The height stands for the height of our base or our shape. So that's the distance between both of our bases plus 2 times the area of my base. So I'm going to find the area of my base shape. So looking at the rectangular prism, my perimeter is going to be the length or the distance around my area, my base shape. My height is going to be the distance between my base shapes. Now I'm going to add 2 times the area of my base. So that's going to be the length times the width. Okay. Whenever we're looking at a triangular prism, again, your perimeter is going to be the distance around your base shape. Now, this is where your slant height comes in. This to find the perimeter around your triangle, you need to know both of your slant heights plus the length of your base. Then we're going to measure the height. So again, that's the distance between both of your bases. And then you're going to add 2 times the area of your base. So in this triangle, the area of your base would be 1/2 times base times height. So you would take the length of your base times the height of your triangle. So that's going to be how, that's just a bit of the characteristics of the shapes we're going to be trying to find the surface area of. But let's go ahead and zoom or look at the bottom. So on the bottom, it says identify if the objects to the left are total or lateral surface area. So my first object is the cardboard for a cereal box. Now on the cereal box, the cardboard needs to cover all of the sides plus the top and the bottom. If it doesn't cover the top and the bottom, then the cereal will just fall through. So the cardboard for a cereal box would be an example of total surface area. Next, we have the label on a soup can. So the label on a soup can only goes around the can. It does not go on the top or the bottom. So this would be an example of lateral surface area. Next, we have wrapping a present. Now, whenever you wrap a present, you wrap all of the faces plus the top and the bottom. So this is going to be also an example of total surface area. And then lastly, a straw. So on a straw, if you think about whenever you have used a straw, the top of the straw and the bottom of the straw are open. So the only thing that we would measure on a straw would be the lateral surface area, which would be just around the straw. But let's go ahead and look at a few examples. So going on to our next page, example 1 says find the lateral surface area. Now, Example 1 is a prism. So since I'm finding the lateral surface area, I want to go to my formula chart and I want to find the formula for lateral surface area. So going down to my formula chart, it tells me that the surface area for a prism lateral is S equals P times H. Now remember, P stands for perimeter and H stands for height. So going back here, I'm going to write S equals, let me change the color, S equals P times H. So this is surface area equals perimeter times the height. My next step says label the length, width, and height. So your length and width are going to be associated with your base shape. Now remember, your base shape is what your shape is laying on. So here your base shape is this rectangle. So do not let it confuse you that this is shaded, that is your base. Again, it is whatever side your whole shape is laying on. So that bottom, that's going to be my base shape. Now, again, that's going to be my length, and this will be my width. Now, my height is the distance between my base shapes, so that means that this would be my height here. So, my first step is to find the perimeter of my base. So, if this side is 8, this side is also 8. And the way I'm finding is the perimeter is I'm going to add all the sides of this rectangle. So as I said, if this side is 8, this side is also 8. If this side is 3, this length over here is 3. So my perimeter is going to be 8 plus 3 plus 8 plus 3. So in our calculators, we are going to add 8 plus 3, which is 11, plus 8 plus 3, which is also 11. So 11 plus 11 is 22. So our perimeter is going to be 22. Now, if I'm finding the area of my base, which is my B, for lateral surface area, we do not need to do that, but so we can show you, in order to find the area of my base here, since this is a rectangle, the formula is going to be length times width. Well, here my length is 8 and my width is 3. So 8 times 3 equals 24. So the area of my base is 24. Now the height of my prism, again, is the distance between both of your bases, which means that my height is 4. Now we're going to go ahead and plug this into my formula. So surface area equals perimeter times height. Again, I'm just looking for the area of the faces of this prism. I do not want the bases. So the perimeter was 22 times the height of my prism, which was 4. Whenever I put 22 times 4 in my calculator, you should get 88. So here, this is going to be 88 centimeters squared. Our lateral surface area is 88 centimeters squared. So I'm going to put 88 centimeters, and to get the squared symbol, you're going to hold the Alt key, and you're going to press 0178. Okay, so that was example 1. Let's look at example 2. So for number 2, we have a triangular prism. And since it is a prism, I'm finding the lateral surface area. So going to my formula chart, the surface area for a prism lateral is surface area equals the perimeter times the height. So I'm going to go ahead and copy down that formula. S equals PH. S stands for surface area. This equals the perimeter of my base times the height of my prism. Now, for starters, let's identify our base shape. I know it's a triangle because it's a triangular prism. Now, the base is going to be this triangle here. So, first, it tells us to label the B. Now, the B is the base of my base shape, so that's going to be 3. And the H, the little h, is going to be the height of my base shape, which is 4. Now, this capital H is going to be the distance between my base shapes. So that means 2 will be the height of my base shape. Now, this 5, my hypotenuse, is only going to be beneficial to me whenever I'm trying to find the perimeter of my base shape. So, for starters, let's go ahead and find my perimeter. Now, again, the perimeter, I add all the sides around my base shape. So this is going to be 4 plus 3. Well, this side, it doesn't tell me what this side is, but I know it's equal to this side over here. So this side must also be 5. So my perimeter is 3 plus 4 plus 5. So in my calculator, 3 plus 4 plus 5 equals 12. So here, perimeter is 12. Now, this capital B again stands for the area of your base. Now, since my base shape is a triangle, I need to find the formula for area of a triangle. Now, going to the area section on my formula chart, it tells me that the formula for area of a triangle is 1/2 base times height. So I'm going to go ahead and copy down that formula. This is 1/2 times base times height. So this equals 1/2 times the base, which is 3, times the height, which is 4. In my calculator, I'm going to do control divide, 1 on top, 2 on the bottom. I'm multiplying this by 3 and multiplying it by 4. So here we get 6 as the area of my base. Then we just have the height of my prism, which is the distance between my base shapes, which means that the height is going to be 2. Next, I'm just going to plug these answers into my formula. Since I'm finding the lateral surface area, again, this is just surface area equals perimeter times height. So my perimeter was 12 times the height of my prism, which was 2. 12 times 2 equals 24. So the lateral surface area of this triangular prism is 24 centimeters squared. And again, finding the lateral surface area is only finding the sides, and it excludes your bases. So let's go on to example 3. This time we're going to find the total surface area. Now, when I find the total surface area, that includes all the sides plus the bases. So for starters, let's go ahead and get the formula for total surface area. Going to my formula chart, the formula for total surface area of a prism is S equals pH plus 2 times big B. Now this stands for surface area equals P is the perimeter of my base, H is the height of my prism, so the distance between my base shapes, plus 2 times big B, which is the area of my base. So on example 3, the formula for total surface area is S equals pH plus 2B. So for starters here, it says label the length, width, and height. Okay, so our step says to label the length, width, and height. So for starters, let's identify our base shape. Now remember, that is the side on which our shape lays. So the bottom is my base. And I'm going to go ahead and shade it for us. Okay, so remember, length and width are associated with your base shape, so I'm going to label 3 as my length, 5 as my width. Now, when it comes to height, remember that's the distance between your base shape, so 8 is your height. Now, my first step is to find the perimeter of my base. Now, remember, I'm going to add all sides. So here, if this side is 3, this side is also 3. And if this side is 5, the opposite side is also 5. So I'm going to add these up. So I have 3 plus 5 plus 3 plus 5. Putting this in our calculator, 3 plus 5 plus 3 plus 5, we get 16. So our perimeter is going to equal 16. Next, I have to find the area of my base. Since my base shape is a rectangle, the formula for area of a rectangle is length times width. So this equals 3 times 5. Putting 3 times 5 in my calculator, we get 15. So the area of my base is 15. Next, we have the height of my prism. So that's the distance between my base shapes. And the height of this prism is going to be 8. So now we can plug in our numbers into our formula. So I have S, which is surface area, equals the perimeter, which is 16, times the height, which is 8, plus 2 times the area of my base shape, which is 15. So in my calculator, we're going to put 16 times 8 plus 2 times the area of my base shape, which was 15. Pressing enter, it tells me that the area of my base shape, or I'm sorry, the surface area, the total surface area of this prism is 158. So my answer here is 158 inches squared. Okay, so that was for the rectangular prism. Next, we have a triangular prism. So example 4 says find the total surface area. So we're going to have the same formula. This is going to be S, which is surface area, equals pH plus 2B. Now here it says label B, which is the base of my triangle, H, which is the height of my triangle, and then lastly H, capital H, which is going to be the distance between my base shapes. So B is the base of my triangle, so that's going to be 4. Then I have H, which is the height of my triangle, which is going to be 6. Remember, 7 is the slant height, and this is only going to be useful to us whenever we're finding the perimeter of my triangle. And then lastly, this capital H stands for the distance between my bases. So 12 is going to be H. So first step, let's find the perimeter of my base. So my base is a triangle, since this is a triangular prism. I'm going to go ahead and shade this in. So to find the perimeter, I'm going to add all sides. So my base was 4, my slant height was 7. They don't tell me what this slant height is, but if you see these little lines here, that is indicating to you that this is an isosceles triangle. And since it's isosceles, that means that both of these sides are equal to each other. So this is also 7. So the perimeter of my triangle is going to be 7 plus 4. Now that's going to give me 18, but just to show you, 7 plus 7 plus 4 is 18. So my perimeter is 18. Now I need to find the area of my base. Remember that capital B stands for area of your base. Now, since my base shape is a triangle, I need to go to my formula chart to find the formula for area of a triangle. Going up, it tells me the area of a triangle is area equals 1/2 little b times h. So that's 1/2 base times height. So going back over here, the formula for area of a triangle was 1/2 times base times height. So this equals 1/2 times the base of my triangle is 4 times the height of my triangle, which was 6. So opening up my calculator, I'm going to put that in. So control divide, 1 on top, 2 on the bottom, times 4 times 6. And here I get 12. So here my the area of my base shape was 12. And then lastly, the height of my prism. So the distance between my bases was 12. So now we can go ahead and plug in our numbers into our formula. So the perimeter of my base was 18 times the height of my pyramid, or I'm sorry, the height of my prism, which was 12, plus 2 times the area of my base, which was 12. So opening up our calculators, we're going to put 18 times 12 plus 2 times the area of my base, which was 12. And here we get 240. So here the total surface area for this triangular prism was 240 centimeters squared. And to get this squared, we're going to press Alt 0178. Okay. Lastly, we're going to look at the surface area for cylinders. Now, on example 5, the first one we're trying to find is the lateral surface area of this cylinder. So, going to my formula chart, it tells me to find the lateral surface area. So, I'm going to go to my formula chart, and under cylinders, it tells me that the lateral surface area is S equals 2 pi r times h. So this is surface area equals 2 times pi times radius times height. So whenever you find the lateral surface area of a cylinder, you're only going to find the area of what's around it, you're gonna exclude your bases. So as the formula chart just told us, the formula for lateral surface area of a cylinder is S equals 2 times pi times radius times height. So here it tells me label R, D, and H. Well, here on this cylinder, they give me the radius. So 4 is my radius, and H is the distance between my bases, so 5 will be my height. Now, if I wanted to find my diameter, again, that's just 2 times my radius. So right now my radius is 4. Multiplying that by 2 would mean my diameter is 8. So going down here, it tells me to label my radius. So my radius is 4. And then I have the height of my, it asks me for the height of my cylinder. Now the height of this cylinder is going to be 5. So all we have to do now is plug that into our formula. So here I have surface area equals 2 times pi times my radius, which is 4, times the height, which is 5. So opening up my calculator, 2 times pi times my radius, which was 4, times 5, which was my height. So here we get that the lateral surface area is 125.664. We're going to round this to the tenths place, and the surface area will now be 125.7 meters cubed. And meters squared. So 0.178. Okay, the last one is asking us to find the total surface area. Now, this is a net of a cylinder, so I'm trying to find the total surface area of a cylinder. Going to my formula chart, it tells me that the total surface area for a cylinder is S equals 2 pi RH plus 2 pi R squared. So, I'm going to copy down that formula, which was S equals 2 pi RH plus 2 pi R squared. So here, it tells me to label the R, my radius, my diameter D, and H, which is the height. So on my base shape, this is my base. So here, this is going to be my diameter. Because this line goes all the way across. So my diameter equals 4. Okay, so my diameter was 4, and if my diameter is 4, I need to find my radius to find the total surface area. So remember, radius is half of your diameter, so that is telling me that my radius is going to equal 2. And lastly, we just have to label the height. And the height is the distance between my bases, which means 5 is my height. So going down here, again, your radius was 2 and your height is 5. So let's plug that into our formula. So we have surface area equals 2 times pi times my radius, which was 2, times the height, which is 5, plus 2 times pi times the radius, which is 2 squared. So let's go ahead and plug that into our formula. So we have 2 times pi times the radius, which is 2, times the height, which was 5, plus 2 times pi times the radius squared, so times 2 squared. Now I get that the surface area, so looking at my calculator here, the total surface area of this cylinder is going to be 87.96 centimeters squared. Or you can round this to 88 centimeters squared. Okay, so that was finding the surface area of prisms and cylinders. Go ahead and complete your assignment. And if you have any further questions, please feel free to reach out to us.